Is our Sheikh Ajami, who is sick in the hospital. Please make dua. Allah Azza wa Jal grant him shifa. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala remove his illness. ذهب البأس رب الناس واشف أنت الشافي لا شفاء إلا شفاؤك شفاء لا يغادر سقما نسأل الله العظيم رب العرش العظيم يشفيه نسأل الله العظيم رب العرش العظيم يشفيه نسأل الله العظيم رب العرش العظيم يشفيه آمين. So we have one of our Sudani brother from our community whose brother passed away in Sudan. And as we know that difficulties that are happening all over the world, especially these areas, brothers of Yemen and Sudan, and brothers of Palestine. So he lost one of his brothers in this situation. So please make dua. Allah Azza wa Jal grant ease to the family and grant him Jannatul Firdaus and make it easy. Grant patience to the family. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Allahumma ighfir lahum warhamhum wa sakkinhum fil jannah. Allahumma ja'al qabrahum rawdatan min riyadil jannah. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. We ask Allah to bless our volunteers, brothers and sisters and families that prepare these monthly breakfasts for us and the weekly refreshments that happens on Saturday morning. As we know that the month of Ramadan will be coming, so inshallah they will not be preparing those for the month of Ramadan. But inshallah we can keep them in our du'as during the month of Ramadan for the work and the volunteer efforts that they have done for the house of Allah Azza wa Jal. May Allah reward them and their families. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He decides to grant maghfirah to anyone who repents and who comes closer to Allah Azza wa Jal. And this is what Allah Azza wa Jal mentions, that when a person is trying to do good actions, when he is a righteous individual, then the mercy of Allah comes very near to him. As Allah describes, Inna rahmatallahi qareebun min al-muhsinin, that those who do good in this life, those who have the element of ihsan in every action of theirs, then the mercy of Allah Azza wa Jal is very near to them. And this is the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we are trying to seek throughout our life, and especially in the blessed month of Ramadan, because one of the main theme of the month of Ramadan is the rahmah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, the actions which are done with ihsan, this is something that brings the rahmah of Allah near to these people. And when it comes to ihsan, as we learn from the teachings of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, that ihsan means to do the action the best way possible, having the desire to gain reward only from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and not to be affected by the environment around us. Right? As the hadith Jibreel explains, وَمَا الْإِحْسَانُ يَا رَسُولَ اللَّهِ قَالَ أَن تَعْبُدَ اللَّهَ كَأَنَّكَ تَرَاهُ فَإِن لَمْ تَكُنْ تَرَاهُ فَإِنَّهُ يَرَاكَ. That you worship Allah as if you can see Him, and if you can't get to that level, then Allah is watching me. So you are doing work with the understanding that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is right in front of me. Allah is there, and I can visualize it. So that is a very high level to be at. Any work that you do, anything, either is your interaction with someone, you're helping someone, you're doing, work at your business, at your workplace, coming to the masjid, interacting with people in the masjid, doing ibadah, relationship between family members. All of these actions that we are doing, we have to bring the component of ihsan inside. And how this ihsan is going to make this effort or this work the best for us, Because when a person knows that he is doing while he is looking at Allah Azza wa Jal, he's visualizing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then he will not do something that is wrong. And if a person cannot get to that level, at least have this vision that Allah is watching you and Allah is watching everyone at all times. This is why Luqman Hakim told his son that, "Oh my son, if you ever have the desire to disobey Allah, find a place where Allah can't see you. Find a place where Allah can't see you, then go and do that sin. And if you can't find that place, then don't do the sin. Don't disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala." So ihsan is the level that we all need to get to in the month of Ramadan, because it's easy to achieve in the month of Ramadan. Because the evil forces have been decreased and the good forces have been increased. The rahmah, the mercy of Allah is descending. The doors of Jannah from the time where the announcement of the month of Ramadan takes place. Hadith in Sahih Bukhari describes Futihat Abwab al-Jannah, the doors of Jannah, they become wide open. And وَغُلِّقَتْ أَبْوَابُ الْجَحِيمِ أَوِ النَّارِ, and the hellfire doors, they are closed. That means this is a roadblock. For this month, this path has been closed. This is a roadblock. This is over here, you cannot go. Now, if a person ignores the sign, ignores the do not enter sign, and he still goes inside, then Nabi alayhi salatu wassalam said, فَقَدْ حُرِمَ الْخَيْرَ كُلَّهِ. He's been deprived from any mercy that can ever exist on earth. That any khair that comes into this world, this person is deprived of it. Why? Because the area where Allah has put, where Allah has blocked, and the road that Allah Azza wa Jal has blocked by closing the doors of hellfire and by putting shaitans into chains, this person still wants to go into that realm. He still wants to go onto that road. So this is why the doors of Jannah are open, and the shayateen have been locked up. So this is the month that we can do a lot of khair in our life. The element is, my brothers and sisters, is to get to the level of ihsan, and which is achievable in the month of Ramadan easily than it is throughout the entire year. Because Allah Azza wa Jal opens the door of khair, and Allah's angels, they make an announcement. The one who is seeking for good, this is your month. Right? This is why the hadith Ibn Abi Dunya mentioned in his Fada'il al-Sawm, that the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, that the most blessed month for the believer is the month of Ramadan. The most blessed month for the believers is the month of Ramadan. And the most difficult month for the most difficult month for the munafiq is the month of Ramadan. The most difficult month for the munafiq is the month of Ramadan, because he becomes very strained. He's not enjoying the fasting. He's not enjoying the long raka'ah at Taraweeh. He's not enjoying the long raka'ah of Qiyam. He's not enjoying his ibadah at night. It is coming that when it's going to end, it's becoming very difficult for me to handle myself. I'm not able to, enjoy this month, because it has so many restrictions. So I want this month to end as soon as possible. This is a temperament of a munafiq, of a hypocrite. And the temperament of a believer is that once the month of Ramadan enters, he never wants this month to end. Right? He doesn't want this month to end. He wants the khair to continue, the rahmah to continue, the blessings of Allah to continue. The nawafil to be given reward of fara'id, and the fara'id to be given reward of 70 fara'id. The dua to be accepted on a daily basis. These are all the gifts that the month of Ramadan brings with it. Only a believer can recognize. You give a valuable piece, a valuable diamond to a small baby, doesn't know the value of it. But if you give it to a person who understands, he's going to value it. So the month of Ramadan is only been valued for those who have Iman in their hearts. And the Prophet ﷺ said that أثقل الشهر أو أضر الشهر, the most difficult month for the munafiq is the month of Ramadan, where he is not able to enjoy because everything is connected with the rahmah of Allah and the ibadah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we ask Allah to make us amongst the true believers. Grant us the ability to maximize the benefit of this month. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us amongst the fortunate ones who receive the mercy and the maghfirah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the blessed month of Ramadan. And we ask Allah to grant us the strength, the ability to utilize this month the way Allah wants us to utilize it. And we ask Allah to make us amongst the fortunate ones who have been given deliverance from the fire of hell in this blessed month of Ramadan. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. جزاكم الله خيرا سبحان الله وبحمده سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك ونشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك.